For all those who don't know us, we are PEP.
And we're on. Good evening, fellas. Welcome to the fifth episode of Fresh Start Live with Fee and Pat, where our motto is stay ready to keep from getting ready. I'm Pat, a.k.a. Did he really just say that?
And I'm Fee, Chatterchino. I can't stop talking.
Today, fellas, we got a pretty good, a fairly great topic and a great guest coming in to join us. As you see, our topic is fatherhood is a privilege and a right. Fight the good fight. Man, I'm kind of excited about this conversation.
Yeah, this topic is it's kind of in my heart. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of go through. I guess being I don't want to say a victim, but being on the other side, which is I want to explain it later on. So yeah, this is a very good topic for me.
Yeah. You know, we were talking a little bit earlier, and we was talking about the guys with the picture and the ID holders.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I remember, you know, when I'm in there, I see a lot of guys with ID holder with a picture of their family, and most of the time they use that to kind of mark their seat. You know, that's how you see their picture.
Right. You know, and that's crazy, man, because as a father, I never even thought to do that. I used to think that it was kind of trendy, a fad.
I was wondering, you know, do those guys that really love their kid that much, or it's just, yeah, I question those things. I mean, if they really love their kid, what do they do to separate themselves from their kids?
Yeah, I mean that's really something to ponder now. You know, then I don't think it was much of a thought for me. You know,
I asked that because I grew up without a father, and not that I hate my father for not being there for me, but it just I felt I kind of like despise those guys that didn't take the responsibility of being a father. And I see all of these guys that, and they did something, and sometimes they did something stupid to get them separate from their kid. And you know, their kid need them.
you know, like you, I also grew up without a father, and my son grew up while I was in prison. And my situation was a little bit different than some because my son was actually conceived after I committed my crime while I was out on bond. But that didn't make me feel any less of a father being away from him. You know, and it's kind of like even though we had visits and we stayed in communication, I just still feel like coming from a fatherless childhood that I shouldn't have put him in that situation. But you know,
But today discussion is not a philosophical discussion of, you know, a father, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. But this is when you're getting out, you want to be a good father or want to play your role as the father. What are the things that you need to do, or what are the obstacles that ahead of you?
yeah. And I think for a lot of the guys, it's the obstacles that's ahead of them that sometimes keep them from reaching their stated objective. Like we was talking earlier, and you asked me some of the obstacles that I've seen. You know, I think the primary one is when there's a unhealed or unmended relationship between the father and the mother. Then the child becomes like a piece in a chess game, kind of like a pawn. I think that's one of the things that guys go through. You know, and that's probably the biggest one I can think of.
Yeah, you know, when I was much younger, when I was a child, you know, I think a father can play a really important role in a child, because if I was acting bad, I don't think anybody else around me can tell me otherwise. But I think if it was my father say something, I would
Yeah.
probably stop. I would probably change it.
Yeah.
And I know in my mind, I think about it when I was younger. So playing your role is really important. You know, or else what would you be?
I mean,
No, I'm talking about those guys who just have kids.
yeah, you just be a sperm donor.
Yeah.
You know, and I think many of us we aspire not to be that, but it's kind of like we see situations where individuals give up. You know, have you seen where somebody stopped trying, you know, to step into their role?
Yeah, I've seen in two extreme. You know, I see some guys getting out and very, very difficult just to see the kid. The baby mama was always give them problem. Like they somehow went to prison. They just lost their right of being a father, right? And some of those guys will never even try to get it back, and some actually successfully doing it. That's why we're doing this show today. So we want to bring that person to really tell you guys what he went through and how he did it, and that way you can emulate it if you really want to be a part of your kids.
That's right. That's right. Before we move on to our next question, let's thank some of our online guests. XCOM Fitness as usual, Gerald Dooley, we see you, Steve Golden. Thank y'all for joining us. Fellas, please feel free to type in any comments on the discussion because this is a very important discussion for all of us, man. You know, and I think about situations where guys haven't given up, and I think we have a personal friend who is still in the midst of this fight of trying to reconnect. And you think about the two different spectrums, one where the child has no control. But what about when it's a situation where the child is an adult now, you know, and you trying to combat all those years of negativity that's been spoken into the child's life? Because me personally, I experienced that, you know, kind of like I shared, you know, my situation when I met my father. But, you know, that's a whole nother fight, I guess, and we'll talk about that one at another time.
I think just you know, when your kid become an adult already, it's not up to you anymore.
Right.
Right. You have to present yourself and just be patient. But when your kid is younger, you have to do everything you can, like our guest would explain what he went through, and that's just your duty, you know. And you know, you have to fight for it.
That's right, and they need you to fight. If you're in that situation, fight, fight, fight. They need you to fight. Hey, Max, glad you could join us, Max.
Hey, make sure you stay all the way until the end because you're going to be the one in the question.
We got Max Hahn joining us. So, where we at right now? What part of the show we at?
Well, it's time of weekly reconnaissance.
Reconnaissance, not reconnaissance. It must be PEP blind date time.
All right, blind date number one is Dave, and he's a 3-year veteran. He came from Reconn Unit, and he also competed in the PEP barbed wire to business in 2019.
Blind date number two is Michael, and he came from the Estes Unit. And he has a couple of months on the outside under his belt, fellas. So let's see what the report Dave had to say after meeting with Michael.
Yeah, roll the tape, Edison.
David Ludicky, a.k.a. Barney, because I love you, you love me. We'll kill it there. Good. I enjoyed meeting with Michael. It's brought me back to remembering when I first got out and the struggles that were involved with it. Yeah, Michael and I are both in construction, so we talked mainly about the steps that he can take to become more involved and find that job that can lead him to opening his own business again. There's a lot of concerns when we get out. His main one is making sure he gets the transportation and stuff so that he can become the productive member of society. And he has some things that work against him. He's got to have the breathalyzer thing and some stuff like that. So getting him in a vehicle and able to get back and forth to work is a whole nother group of challenges than it was for me. Yeah, Michael already worked for me one day, and it looks like if he can figure out how to get to Arlington and back, he's got another little job to do for me. I'm in the construction trade, so I always try to help out when I can. But the transportation, if he didn't have transportation issues, I could send him out on a job here and there all the time, and I know other people who could too. But it's just that a lot of us, we can't take an entire day out of our schedule to do that. We do it once, but we can't. I mean, we run businesses that have to stay afloat. So for me, it just allowed me to remember what it was like when I first get out and cherish the things that I've done and the things that other people have done for me since I got out to put me where I am today. And I mean, I'm not phenomenally successful or anything else, but I have a pretty good life, and I'm the man that God intended me to be today. Well, not all the way, but I'm getting there, and that's the important piece. And just allowed me to look back up on that time and see the progress that I've made. Sometimes I forget how far I've come and how difficult it was.
Always good to hear fellas in successful dating situations, whether you see that there's an opportunity for another date. Fellas, your time. Feel free to reach out and connect because you too, there's an opportunity for you to have a date.
I mean, this is really easy to do. You when you in there, you want to be giving back, to this organization, and this is the best way to do it. You can take the guy out for lunch, breakfast, or dinner, and have a conversation with them. Lift them up, show them the way that you've been.
That's right. So don't miss your opportunity. Contact Harvey Ma. The description is in the bottom. In the description is contact information. Reach out to myself. If you can't, connect with Harvey. But take the time, fellas, to really join the Reconn Unit, man, because as the Reconn Unit gets stronger, that's a bigger net, bigger supporting cast for these guys coming out. Say, you ready?
Yep.
You excited? So, fellas, without further ado, we're going to bring on our special guest to come in and talk to us, and it's none other than Mr. Jeremiah Martinez, the man of the hour. Hey, Juan Chopper, you should be in the studio, but we see you, Brandon Green. We see you.
Good to see you, Jeremiah.
How you doing? Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man. So as we've already told you, our topic of discussion is fatherhood is a privilege and a right. Fight the good fight, and we think that describes you to the T.
So we're trying to focus on three things: freedom, family, and finance. And when we're talking about families, you came to my mind right away, and as soft-spoken as you are, and which is the hard hearing of I am, and I always focus on what you say, and you're always talking about your kid and trying to get you right. So we want you to share, with a brother out there, what do you have to do, what kind of journey that you went through, and where you at with it.
Right. Starting off, I would have to say first, you're gonna have to make the decision that you're gonna do whatever it takes. If you in any way feel that it's gonna be a loss or it's too much, you're never gonna get to the point where I've gotten today. And I sat there, even when I was doing my time. You guys were talking about the pictures and having them in the IDs, and I got to a point where I couldn't even look at my son's picture anymore. The guilt, the heavy weight. I realized that, I wasn't where I needed to be, and that was in his life. And so, when I got out, I was completely all the way in. The first phone call, that was pretty sobering for me because it was a complete door slammed in my face, And ironically, either because I wasn't, thinking realistically, I didn't expect that. I thought that I would at least get to hear his voice. I didn't even get that, and I realized I had to come up with a concise, clear plan to get back into his life no matter what. And I thought that even stopping by my old methods of getting in his life, those didn't work anymore. Usually I would show up with police. I was loud, I was hostile. None of that was working, and I realized I had to take a different alternative. It was going to take some money. It was going to take, me not getting instant gratification. It was going to take me consistently calling, even when I served her with papers, and then I got served. I didn't expect that either. I didn't think that this was are you going to battle me too kind of thing. You know, I thought it was just going to be me pushing, 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 and eventually making some, quick progress. That didn't happen that way. So, I for one realized that there was some things that I was going to need underneath my belt in order to have a realistic chance at having my son, my own place, money for the lawyer, clothes, and also I didn't realize how strained my relationship with my son had become. I had to figure out a private, personal plan for that between me and him. It wasn't just battling his mother; it was repairing the distance, the lost time.
So let me ask you this, Jeremiah. I hear all of that, and it's amazing. So with all of the resistance and all the things that you had to put in place, I guess I want to ask, why was it so important for you to have your son in your life?
My son is in definitely a huge part of my legacy. I've realized when I joined PEP, it's something that we're kind of ingrained into us to think about, to form together. Our eulogy that we did, things like that. I never knew my dad. Closest thing to a father I've ever known was my judge. And I realized that I did not want that for my son. No man was around to correct me, to chastise me, to show me the right way. And my judge had enough love for me to do something with me before I took a hold of my own demise. And so it was very important for me, for one, because I looked that boy in the face and I see the other half of my soul. I mean, who would want to be separated from that? It's like a big part of me is him, and I can't turn my back on that. I can't turn my back on that. The time that I got with him now is almost, surreal. I'm staring at him, he's talking. I just beginning stages of teaching him how to drive, and I feel like these are the most significant parts of my life. This time with him right now is what matters, and I'm finally getting to those things. Before, I wasn't the absolute worst person in the world, but I wasn't my best, and that's a problem because he deserves the best, So I've been doing that for all 2 years strong now since I've come home.
So from the point that the door was slammed in your face to the time it was cracked, it took 2 years?
2 years.
Wow. Why didn't you quit when it took so long?
I think sometimes, and I got offered a job. It was building boats, and for 1 second, it kind of festered in my mind, like, should I put that on the back burner? Should I wait and try to get me completely together before I pursue my son full force? And then, I realized when's the right time? When he's 18? When he's 25? When I can say, hey, son, I got all these things, and I chose them over you, but now I got the time for you. I think by then he's grown enough into being a man that he doesn't need me like that anymore. Those special moments that he was looking for are gone, and I refuse to look back and face that. So I chose just to put that aside, keep with the plan, keep moving forward, do whatever it takes to pay the lawyer, get people away from me that aren't beneficial and not conducive to my plan to being a good father, Stay with my routine. My routine is probably the biggest thing that kept me on the right track to my son. Entertaining thoughts and side activities that weren't going to lead me to him, so they're wasting my time.
Wow.
Well, listen to your story. The picture that came up to my head that a lot of people put on, on social media, and it's kind of cute, but it's but your story is speak louder than that picture. The one that you have guys that doing a push-up and had a baby behind him, and he's saying, I cannot quit because somebody is watching, you
Yeah.
know? And, I mean, that is it's cute to put up there, but you actually, you did it,
Yeah.
you know? And so what I'm hearing you saying, that it's the determination of knowing your purpose. Why do you want to do this? All right. So, and the second thing you did was you have a plan. And the third thing is your routine.
Mm-hmm.
And then the patient that got you. Right.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything? So,
No, you know, and the anticipation that I didn't know would drag out for 2 years would definitely keep you up at night, you know, but it was much needed time I needed with myself, for my son, to sit there and really go over what could I do better? How could I make this smoother? You know, I used to be a completely different, I used to have a different personality, you know, and it was reckless. And it wasn't a way that I could win first his mother over with. That guy was not going to get anywhere with her. You know, I've had to learn to be more patient, more soft spoken, more understanding. I wanted all the understanding in the world, you know, but unfortunately, the world doesn't owe me that. You know, I owed everything first to my son to prove that I for one, am capable of staying in his life. I remember when this last time we went to court and it was all said and done, contracts were signed. I yielded to some things to first get my son. If I made it about me, I could have dragged this out another year, you know, but it was about my son, so I agreed. And, you know, when I put all that together, I realized that I'm going to have to be the person that, for one, my son can trust. You know, when I explained to him what the contract says and what it consists of and how far I've come to even get to this point, he says, Dad, you better not mess this up. And that was like a knife cutting through me, because no one has had that much power over me to threaten with me with do right. This is important for me and you. Don't ruin this. You know, so I took that serious. You know, even today, if I feel, you know, a thought will even cross my mind that's counterproductive to me and my son, you know, I eliminate it right away.
That's cool. A lot of brothers, man, say they're proud of you. So Brian Reed wants some clarity when you say that your dad was the judge.
Right. So, for one, my father has never been in my life, you know, and I've been on. Funny thing, man. One of my probation officers, one of my many probation officers, explained to me. She says, Jeremiah, you've been on probation your whole life. You should know this by now. What are you not getting? And I remember back in the first time, I was about 12 years old. You know, I've been doing this a while. Probably not as long as a lot of other brothers, but I've been doing it a while. And none of it fazed me. None of it fazed me. And nobody had the tenacity again to say, hey, this is enough. You need to change. You know, and my judge, the last things he said to me before he walked out that courtroom was, Jeremiah, I'm not ready to throw you away yet, but you going into custody, bailiff. And that festered in my mind for the first 2 years of my time. What did he mean? I'm in prison right now. What did he mean by not throw me away? But then I realized, you know, if that judge didn't have a heart for me, he could have let me back out on them streets. I could have did nothing, became nothing, you know. Probably did more harm to my son than anything, you know. And could have let me continue that way, but he chose to do something with me. Something a father does, corrects their child, you know, and it's the only male correction, male guidance that I've ever had in my life. You know, so when I say that, it was a fatherly thing he did that my father should have done, never did do.
Man, I think that's very powerful, man, you know, because I think of one of my first encounters with a positive male figure and it was actually a TDC correctional, a major, as a matter of fact. You know, one of the people that to this day I still respect and had a relationship after he retired. But that's deep, bro. I think your story is going to resonate with so many. Like I say, so many brothers on, man, and they saluting you. We got our truck drivers done joined us today. We got John Castillo and Alfredo Manning with us. We got J-Mo with us. Brian Reed, appreciate you, of course. Robert, appreciate you for joining us today, fellas. It's been a blessing, I believe, to all of our soul for you to be here. Somebody said this should be in a book. You know, fellas, y'all got any questions? Type them in.
Well, it's I'm gonna say it's a gift that you actually showed up to share the story. But I didn't know how powerful the story is. I think this you actually giving a gift that I'll keep on giving, because there's gonna be plenty of people watching this and got motivated by it.
And when y'all watching this, don't talk crazy about Fiona, because this dude is cleaner than a clap doctor. You know, he cleaner than the Board of Health, and we got on T-shirts, don't judge us, bro. But really, though, man, we appreciate you, man. And I said for all the people who are going to get something from this, thank you for willing to being transparent and open and share you.
Right.
Not your story, share you with us, man. So, brothers, if you are still here, that can only mean that you are a true PEP brother. So it's about time we want to do a PEP update, huh?
Yep, we're gonna share some PEP update with you.
All right, fellas, on the in prison front, as many of you know based upon Facebook, yesterday was our first full day back in prison. So as of right now, only a couple of us are allowed in each unit. So I was in Cleveland yesterday because Greg's on vacation and Game was in Estes. And we're preparing to do a restart. And one of the things we're doing, because we have a little, right around 40 people in Cleveland and probably about 45. Okay, Donald, there's no orange hat today. Probably about 45 in Estes. But what we're doing, we're focusing on a restart. So when you go back into prison and you visit prison, you're going to see that what we do is going to be totally different and new to you as well, because our approach is going to be different. You know, like I told you yesterday, I polled the 40 guys that were in Cleveland, and I asked, how many of you guys actually want to do a business plan? And only about 12 of them raised their hand.
Yeah, you see that from class to class. There's a lot of guys that come to PEP. Actually, the first was for the entrepreneurship, but later on it's the brotherhood and the characters and everything else. And those guys kind of a little bit forgot about, you know, why they're there. And forcing them go through the entrepreneurship, it's sometimes become unbearable, and then sometimes it's like they lose an interest. So we changed our approach up, so in that way everybody could enjoy. You know, you go through the entrepreneurship, you learn everything entrepreneurship, but then you learn a part of the business that you are actually good at.
All right.
And then be a part of the team business plan.
Yeah.
And that way you can bring that skill out here and be a team of whatever company you work for.
That's right. So as y'all heard Fee say, we're taking the team BPC approach. The team's going to be comprised of CEO, COO, CFO, CMO. But even the way that we're structuring events and workshops are going to be completely different, because it's going to be geared toward getting the best out of the participants, as well as getting the best out of our executive volunteers. And some of the product that's come out should be amazing. So if you haven't been to prison, prepare, because when we're able to get back, you know, you guys may be called upon to do an alumni or Reconn Unit workshop. You never know. So prepare yourself. What do we have going on the outside?
Well, before I talk about what's going on the outside, I want to mention that we are planning to put a videos together, and it's not live. It's a videos up to inform you guys how we're going to run our activity in there, and how is the BPC team is formed, and how we're going to get the guys to work together. And that way you can understand what really going to happen inside.
Right.
If you want to be a part of it, look for that videos.
That's right. Look for the video, fellas. Like Fee said, it won't be live. We'll record it, and we'll take you step by step.
Okay, so for outside, we're going to do the second barbed wire to business. And this time it's going to be in Houston. The date is September 23rd, 2021. And if you are interested in to be a part of this, let us know. We also know that there's plenty of guys have already reached out. So we're going to be contacting you in the next few weeks. But if you feel like we don't have your information, call us, let us know. And this is a chance for you to showcase the business that you already own and why you need the money to expand your business.
Okay. Y'all heard it, fellas. Barbed Water Business, 9/23/21. That's September 23rd, 2021. Reach out, give us a call if you have a business and you're interested. I think I said earlier, and we were having a discussion. It's important, fellas. If you have your financials, great. If you don't, contact us and we can help you get all of your financial record keeping and all of that in order. But I think that's going to be important for you if you want to move your business, be able to show where you're making money and how you can make money and what you're doing with the money, man, and come and get the money. So, do we still have Max Hahn on with us? So this is our Starbucks quiz from the day. This question actually came from inside the unit. So everybody with the exception of PEP staff, this question is fair game to you. The question is, the Starbucks quiz question is, what class did Max Hahn graduate from? You can't answer either, Max.
Hold on, let me give them a clue, okay? He graduated in the same year as Edison Nguyen graduated from PEP.
That's right. Nobody's taking a shot at it? Jeremiah, you can take a shot at it also. It's for $5.
Class 8.
Class. Don't play dumb, Max. Anybody else want to take a shot? What class did Max Hahn graduate from?
Well, hold on. Let me give them some timeline perspective, right?
Okay.
First, I'll say it's Edison. Graduated the same year at Edison. Max is actually my fall partner.
Ron Reed let you Google. Robert R. say class 6. Juan Chopper say class 1. Anybody else? Boy, this is too easy.
Hey,
All right,
keep running
actually-
them down. Somebody gonna hit it.
Actually, Max wouldn't made it to the recruiting part.
Max is actually my classmate. Class 0. Max is not a PEP graduate either. So we'll get ready for a question again next week. So before we wrap up, man, any last things?
No, I think today's episode was really great.
Yeah, we can't thank you enough, man. Fellas, we really thank all of y'all for joining in, participating today. We got a lot of new faces. Good to see y'all again. Brian Reed, Robert, Golden Rule, John Castillo, all the way from San Antonio, Juan Chopper, who's supposed to be in the studio, Edison Nguyen, we see you. Oh, you're in 2 places. But glad y'all joined us, fellas, because remember, man, we're on a mission to celebrate 1 million stories. And with Jeremiah here today, we're one closer to that goal. So as we get ready to leave, keep this in mind, man. Freedom demands responsibility. Responsibility demands accountability. So until we meet again, peace.
All right, Edison, you can cut me off now.
Julio.
For all those who don't know us, we are PEP.